Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching. We're with Sim again. Hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video we're going to be going over the threat of severe weather and even some pretty big changes that will definitely be bringing some very big impacts to the United States. So if you guys are wanting to know this information, that's why I got you there, that's why I have it for you. And if you guys are asking me why do I have my camera in the upper left hand corner of my screen, that's because I wanted you guys to be able to see the map and to know what's going on. I didn't want my camera to block like Florida in the left hand or the down right hand corner of my screen, so that's why I did move it up here onto the models and stuff over here, so that way you guys could see what was going on over here. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with the storm prediction center outlook, where we actually do have a marginal in-sight risk of severe weather across Florida, and this did upgrade yesterday. At least the sight risk that was around yesterday did upgrade, but that's almost gonna be expiring. But we also got another risk for tornadoes today. This is a sight risk. No enhanced risk is gonna be expected with these storms, but we still have that sight risk that in play, and the main threat is going to be a tornado. It's the only thing that's gonna be bringing our tornado. So I clicked on the wrong one. We need to go to day 1 tornado. There we go. Day 1 tornado. There we go. There's the 5% chance of a tornado across Panama City Beach, getting into almost Mobile, but not really in Mobile though, because I mean it almost includes it, but it doesn't. Mobile is more in this 2%. But if we go to the wind threat, we also got a threat for winds. This isn't the tornado threat. There's actually a 5% chance of damaging winds within 25 miles of any given location, and that's the same thing for the tornado threat. A tornado could occur in 25 miles of any given location. So definitely be aware of this tornado threat, but don't think this isn't gonna occur. That's not how you treat threats of severe weather. You always try to be prepared even if it's not. So you try to be safe, then you try to be sorry. So make sure you guys really get prepared down here if you live in Florida. So I mean, make sure you guys are treating the threats of tornadoes right. Even in the future, make sure you guys do treat these tornado threats right, so that way you guys are safe when one does occur. But even if it doesn't, that's okay. You guys probably are okay to just stay prepared, because we may have some more severe weather events coming up. We're going to go ahead and look at the storm prediction center outlook. We're on the 6 to 10 day outlook, seeing pretty well above average temperatures for a pretty good portion of the United States. Florida maybe slightly below, but not really much below, which is good. So about where it should be this time of year, but just a little bit below average though. So looks like New England getting through the East Coast will stay near normal, and then up here in the Northwest near normal. But every other areas, especially the Midwest, Plains, and even a little bit of the Ohio Valley, seeing much above average. But if we look at the temperatures on the 8 to 14 day outlook, we're just seeing a small area of above average temperatures for like Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, southeast Iowa, getting into western Kentucky, western Tennessee, northeast Arkansas. So all those areas really included in this above average. And to be honest, we're seeing above average for pretty much the eastern half of the United States is where we're seeing most above average. Maybe above average for very southern Florida, but even slightly above for Florida or California is possible. But we're going to look at the precipitation, where we actually do have a pretty good portion of the United States included in the green color. It's just Wyoming, getting into northern Colorado, and then southern Montana that is seeing a pretty good chance for above average precipitation. It looks like portions portions of the East Coast, and then even Southern California, getting into Southern Arizona, and then even southwest New Mexico, seeing a chance for slightly below average precipitation. It looks like Southern Texas is also seeing a pretty good chance for above average precipitation as well. But if we look at that at the 8 to 14 day outlook, it sounds like some of those areas still continue to stay above, but then things do change with the Midwest and even a little bit of the Ohio Valley, where we are seeing a pretty good chance for above average precipitation. I'm just going to say Evansville, Springfield, Indianapolis, St. Louis, getting into Paducah, and then even like Harrisburg, Illinois. All those areas could see its own above average precipitation. I'm just going to say these areas do look to be more isolated than they are widespread. So like we got just a few dots of above average precipitation. We even got one for Alaska. I know it doesn't show it, but we do got one for Alaska also. And as you see, almost the entire United States is included in the screen color, which I wouldn't say that's rare that the entire United States is covered in green, but it is pretty bad that all of the United States could be seeing some pretty good storms, especially Colorado and also Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. So we're going to look at the National Weather Service hazards, or the alerts from the National Weather Service. And as you see, we are seeing some dense fog advisories in effect for just south of Evansville, just across western Kentucky. Includes Paducah, Henderson, and also a few other areas. Looks like up here we also got some dense fog advisories. Also down here we also may be seeing dense fog advisories too as well. I thought those were special weather statements because it showed them on a different alert app or map, but they still include patchy fog, I think. So I do think those can be considered dense fog advisories. But I mean, it is showing dense fog advisories, so just be aware of fog if you do live in these areas. But aerial flood watch is in effect for like Florida, southern Louisiana, and then even up here in the northwest. We also got some high wind warnings and high wind watches in effect for like New Mexico, Wyoming, or southeast Wyoming rather, getting into Colorado. And then we also got some high wind warnings in effect for Montana. It looks like lots of high wind warnings in effect over here too as well. It looks like some high wind watches are in effect for those areas. So I mean, we got some high wind watches and high wind warnings in effect. Also some wind advisories in effect for like southeast Oregon, getting into southwest Idaho. So all those areas are included in like wind advisories or high wind watches, but it also looks like winter storm warnings and advisories in effect for a pretty good portion of the Rockies, getting into the northwest. So we'll have to watch closely, but it looks like even some wind advisories in effect for the panhandle of Texas too as well. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next thing. I just got to wait for it to load. We're going to go ahead and take this forward, where we are seeing some snow for the northwest United States, even some active precipitation, just rounds of storms for the northwest. So that's really all I'm going to say for that area, just rounds and rounds of storms. But even some rounds of snow are possible for these areas. We're going to go ahead and take this forward. And it looks like that low pressure system will strengthen into the high pressure system. And as you kind of see, some pretty good storms across like eastern Texas, getting into western Louisiana, and then up here into Iowa. But as we continue to take this forward, as we continue to take this forward, we will be seeing it looks like a little bit more precipitation for Indiana, but then even like very heavy snow too as well. So pretty interesting. I mean, nothing. I don't think this is gonna be like a total big amount of snowfall or rainfall, because if we actually do look at that, let's see, it looks like it changed a little bit, but it actually shows a lot of precipitation down here to the south. Wow, are you kidding me? Here, just wait 1 second. I actually want to look at the National Weather Service or the Weather Prediction Center rainfall outlook, so the excessive rainfall outlook by Weather Prediction Center. I want to see if we actually do have a moderate risk, and it actually doesn't look like we do, but it sounds like for today and tomorrow we actually do have those threats for flash flooding down here in southern Florida. So it is pretty interesting that we don't have a moderate risk, which I thought we were, because if we go back to the precipitation, which was right here, it actually does show a foot of rain as possible. So I'm not really sure why it has to be that much. I mean, I do agree with that in the northwest United States, because that is where it looks to be most stormy, but I don't know, like, about up here, like in Iowa, it's showing like almost 5 inches. So I don't know if this is like a weird weather app or not, which I don't think it is. I actually think it is pretty good, but I don't understand why the GFS model would have to show such a big amount down here to the south and even a big amount up here towards the Ohio Valley. I just don't understand, and it actually does show it in inches, to be honest. I just don't understand why it would have to show such a big amount of precipitation up here. So it is definitely a little bit interesting, but since it is showing it, just be on high alert for flash flooding. That's it, just be on high alert for flash flooding. I don't know why it is showing all this, but just, I mean, it is heading all the way out to the 366 hour, but I head all the way to the end of the radar, which is at the exactly same time, the 366 hour on the radar too as well, and it just didn't show a whole lot of activity down here. So I don't know why it is showing that again, but still, we're gonna have to watch closely. And I was surprised about this, cause look, I put my mouse on this and look, 92 inches of snowfall in effect for California. Are you kidding me? That is a lot of snowfall. That cannot be right, guys. That cannot be right. 90 inches of snowfall. Because, here, let me go back to where it was. There we go. 92 inches of snowfall just right there on my screen. 92 inches. I do not know how that is right, guys. I mean, I know I am heading like days and days out, which kind of makes sense with a lot of snowfall, but it actually didn't show that much snowfall for Northern California. At least it didn't look like it. So I don't know why the GFS model has to show an active amount, even though it hasn't shown a lot of storms coming through like these areas that are seeing lots of snowfall and even precipitation. So we'll watch. We'll see if this is true, but it also looks like Alaska could be seeing over 109 inches, or even Western Canada seeing over that too as well. So I mean, it kind of makes sense that that Canada is seeing a lot of feet of snow. Wow, it looks like almost almost 200 inches of snowfall. Are you kidding me? That's gonna be like a house buried in snow, to be honest. Maybe a little bit more extreme, but like over here to the west, or over here to the east, I mean, it looks like Boston seeing, or Massachusetts seeing up to 30 inches of snowfall, maybe even higher amounts across this area, but it is isolated though, so not super bad because it's isolated, but it is bad for those areas in that 30 inches of snowfall. So yeah, this definitely looking a little bit extreme, guys. I don't want to lie that this isn't true, because I mean, this has to be true, especially because it is a good weather app and lots of people use it, but I just feel like we're not just gonna be seeing all that. So we'll watch closely, but December is definitely looking very active, so definitely something to keep an eye on. But we're just gonna go ahead and start looking at the jet stream before this video gets too long. We're gonna go ahead and go back to the beginning of it, and we're going to go ahead and take this forward, and it looks like we will have a strengthening jet stream across like the Ohio Valley, getting down into Arkansas. We're going to go ahead and take this forward, start to see a small dip in the jet stream. Right here is probably one of your low pressure systems, and then as we continue to take this forward, we will start to see more dips in the jet stream, like this one right here. Another small dip in the jet stream may be possible possible too as well. But as we continue to take this far, we're almost getting to the 144 hour, and to be honest, I already went there, but I'm just going to go back a little bit. And as you see, it continues to go forward. We'll start to see some pretty good active dips in the jet stream, like one over here. Wow, that's a really big dip, to be honest. And then as you see, it starts to like curve up on it to where now this low pressure system is a little bit unstable or something like that. But if we continue to take this forward, it looks like we're at the end of it. And I mean, yeah, we saw a few dips in the jet stream, to be honest, so that's definitely gonna be a kind of a concern right there. But also more things we'll be needing to watch for too, as well as we get into the month of December. But definitely something to be aware about. We're just gonna go ahead and look at our temperatures, and if we keep taking this forward, we gotta go back, and boom, we're gonna go ahead and take this forward. And as you see, we start off a little bit cool, but then we start to see this warm front come through, and as you see, it continues to strengthen and strengthen, maybe a little bit freezing at times, but strengthening and even more strengthening as we keep heading later. It sounds like we could see up to 60 across Indiana, which will be pretty warm for those areas. Wow, it looks like up into the 70s for Texas, so pretty warm there. As we continue to take this forward, we will continue to see like those pretty warm temperatures across those areas, so pretty pleasant. But then as we continue to take this forward, that does head out, we'll start to see a cold front and freezing temperatures again. But it sounds like we'll continue to stay like little bit like above freezing is what I'm saying, a little bit above freezing after that warm front does head out. So we'll have to watch and see where we do start to see those big freezing temperatures occur again, but that's probably going to be more like in mid-winter. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy my video. I hope you guys do like this new weather app. As you guys probably heard, I was getting concerned about the precipitation and snowfall. I wasn't sure why the GFS model had to put such a big amount on there, but I was heading pretty far out though. But I mean, I headed that far out on the GFS model radar, and it wasn't actually showing that much snowfall nor precipitation. At least it didn't look like there was that much rainfall or snowfall on the radar occurring, so I'm not really sure why it had to be so active, but we'll definitely have to be aware about that. But like I said, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you guys do like this weather app, and I will also do a video tomorrow.